Hello, everyone. It's me again, Stephanie Clay, licensed associate counselor. We are still celebrating the month of May as Mental Health Awareness. So I'm back with another topic, and today's topic is toxic positivity. What is toxic positivity? So it almost seems like an oxymoron that the two words would be in the same phrase toxic positivity. How can being positive be toxic, right? That sounds like an oxymoron, but I will explain shortly. So, negative emotions like sadness, anger, disappointment, whether they're our emotions or someone else's emotions, can be hard to process and uncomfortable to discuss. Like, we don't like talking about negative things. Like, we don't like talking about sad things. We don't like talking about disappointments and death and grief and things like that. So, toxic positivity is a mental health shortcut, and it allows us to avoid experiencing and talking about these difficult feelings. So, the belief that one of the nuggets of toxic positivity is that there is a belief that only positive emotions are the appropriate response to anything that happens in life. So it doesn't matter whether it's pain related, tragedy related. Um, Toxic positivity is exhibited when a person thinks that only positive emotions are acceptable. So that's a form of toxic positivity. I will say this: the positive emotions that get glorified, if you will, are things like happiness, gratitude, optimism, and then the other negative emotions get suppressed, such as sadness, anger, and, like I said, disappointment. So let me pause and just say this because I'm a Christian. And as a Christian, we have a certain level of optimism, right? Our faith is built on Jesus Christ, and we quote the scripture that says, all things work together for the good of them who love God, called according to his purpose. We know that God has made us victorious. We know that, God will look out for us and he'll take care of us, right? When bad things happen, when tragedy comes our way. But here's the difference between that level of optimism and toxic positivity. Remember, I said that toxic positivity only believes in expressing the positive emotions, and it minimizes the or suppresses the negative emotions. Well, as a Christian, even though we're optimistic, when we face challenges and trials, we still express our negative emotions. We still cry, right? We still grieve. We still feel disappointed, and we still feel hurt. So, again, positivity becomes toxic when we suppress our feelings. So, how about this? If you take a bottle of soda, and I use this example a lot, and you keep the top on it and you shake it up, what happens when you take the top off? Right? It explodes. So what's in the bottle is going to come out of the bottle. So it's the same way when we suppress our emotions or our feelings. It's a short-term solution, but it has very significant long-term consequences. One of the things that I read in my studies is that if we continue to suppress our emotions or our feelings over time, it becomes easy to inhibit all emotions. So, not just the negative ones, but we'll suppress and inhibit other emotions that make us feel, that give us feelings of like danger, something being uncontrollable or uncomfortable. So, over time, it has a negative impact on us, right? It helps us to inhibit other emotions as well. So I'm going to give you two examples of toxic positivity. One is minimizing a negative situation, such as a loss of a pet, right? Minimizing that and comparing it to a greater loss that you haven't experienced yet. So, for example, if someone's pet dies, and they say, "Oh well, at least it's not my mother or my father," right? That's toxic positivity because they're not grieving the loss of the dog or the cat or whatever the pet is, right? They're negating it, they're minimizing it so that they don't have to feel it, so that they don't have to process it or express it. And then a second example of toxic positivity is dismissing people who acknowledge their negative emotions, and we dismiss it by saying they're being pessimistic, they're being ungrateful, and that they're complaining, right? So that's the second example. I'm going to share with you some common expressions of toxic positivity, and I already know, I promise you in advance, um, of anyone giving any comments, you're going to say, we say these words all the time, these phrases all the time. But these are the common expressions of toxic positivity. Everything happens for a reason. Look on the bright side. It could be worse. Stay positive. It'll all work out. You'll get over it. Am I right? We all say those phrases. So, how is it that that same phrase can be interpreted as toxic positivity? Again, we go back to the definition. If we're using those phrases as a mechanism to encourage someone, to give them hope, then it's fine, right? As long as we're, not minimizing their experience or our experience, it's fine. But when we suppress the negative emotions, and we don't deal with them, and we gloss over things and just say our little phrases and keep moving, that's toxic positivity. So here is a healthy alternative to toxic positivity. So the healthy alternative is to validate emotions and offer hope. It's important to validate our feelings and our emotions, that they're real, that they exist. What happens to me may be minor to you, but it may be major to me, right? So we validate emotions, acknowledge that they exist, and we offer hope, right? That's the difference. If we're offering hope to someone and encouragement to someone, that's a healthy alternative to toxic positivity. And if you can't offer hope, I always say, just be present. I call that the ministry of presence. Sometimes just your presence is a blessing to someone. Just being there, just being in the room. We don't have to offer solutions. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to think of um, anything to say per se, but just being present means a lot to people. And in doing so, if we validate feelings and we offer hope, or just be present, this allows us and other people, and others to express and process these difficult emotions instead of suppressing them. That's it for today. I'll see you on the next video.